Reboot it!
Hey everyone, I'm Ron Swallow, and welcome to Reboot Rewind, the official after show for Reboot It. Today we have the whole crew here. That's right, you guys, the whole crew. We've got Billy Business,
Hello?
Producer Bill, and Ed Greer. Uh-oh.
Yes! Wow.
Ron, if you can do that and not give it weird, awkward timing, we'll be in business, baby.
One day. So welcome to the Reboot Rewind. We're talking about Super Mario Brothers today. Let's talk about how this one came about, guys. Why did we decide to do Mario, of all things?
Oh, because we were going to kill each other after Matrix, so we had to do something that was a layup. That's what it was.
I remember I was pushing hard for us to do a video game movie franchise from the beginning. And I think we were talking about doing Mortal Kombat for the longest time, which is kind of ironic because that new trailer just came out. And I feel like none of us were really on board with Mortal Kombat. And so I threw out the idea of like, what if we did Mario Brothers? And I think it was a little bit low-hanging fruit because there was no way we could do worse than that 90s movies. So we're all just like, sure, why not?
I kind of like that 90s movie in a weird, what am I watching kind of way. Like, it's
Same.
not a good movie, but just like, talk about taking every left turn that you could possibly take. Like, you're presented a choice, and you're like, but what if we did this weird thing instead every single time? It's worth watching if you haven't seen it just for that.
Well, and that's the ironic thing, because that movie was probably to Mario fans what our movie probably is to Mario fans. You know, it's just like,
dude, I think
these
ours
dudes.
I don't know.
I'm not saying that it's that level of quality. Again, I don't know. Maybe I'm transcending my being and becoming just subjectivity, man. Everybody's opinion is okay unless you're racist or something. You know what I mean? I'm kind of trying to bow out like Keanu Reeves of some of these fights. I'll fight on set because I taste maced. I don't like that movie. I'm just saying people in the comments we're going to see later were just like mad at us. And I just felt like we had injected so much heart and we'd given it our all so much. And to have a certain small level of the certain part of the fan base go, you just did the same thing those guys did. You just threw away all the mythos that I grew up with. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't remember that.
I don't
funny.
remember. I don't remember ever going through the comments on this one, so I'm surprised to hear you say, and I'm looking forward to seeing later. Like, I thought people liked this one.
Most people did like this one. There was one or two comments of that thing, and we'll get to that. But the funny thing is, Bill, you came into this literally knowing everything about Super Mario Brothers.
Well, so here's sort of my bigger picture thing about this. I am so overwhelmed by video game nerds. Like there's such a deep level of lore, especially to these like first generation video game worlds that have been going on now for however many versions and comics and cartoons and whatever. And video game nerds take this stuff so seriously, deadly seriously. And you know me, I'm never the one who wants to play to your hardcore fan base, but I did feel like this one in particular, I did the Ed Greer thing where I'm like, I should do some research to at least wrap my head around like, what is this aside from just a couple of Brooklyn plumbers in the Mushroom Kingdom? Because there had to be a little bit more lore there for it to have such a rabid fan base. So I just wanted to understand, at least on a surface level, what that lore was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it helped. And it helped the show. It really did.
It really did. And Billy, how about you? You didn't really know anything, as is the case always.
Jeez. What the hell? Where's Ashton
Coming down
Kutcher about to jump out of the
By the way,
damn frame here? Am I
that's
getting
a total
punked?
joke. That's how people depict you, though. It's not true.
I
I just think it's funny.
2 episodes tops
I
where
know.
I've been like, I don't know. And then it became like I just show up,
Just-
take a dump and then leave.
Hey, here's a steaming pile of contributions. I'm out.
This is the thing, Billy. This is what you get for being an honest person who is just like okay about admitting when they don't know about something. You can never do that. We're in Hollywood. You pretend you know stuff, okay?
I think Super Mario Brothers, to my knowledge, I had seen the original movie. I think I like watched maybe when I was a kid the Captain Lou Albano hosted cartoon now and then when it was on. But yeah, look, I didn't get a Nintendo system until Nintendo 64. It was just we were poor, and also my parents just were like, you have better things to do with your time. So I didn't grow up with video games the way that a lot of my peers did. So a lot of the lore of Super Mario to me was just like, I knew, the iconography. I didn't know that Peach and Daisy were not the same person. I just assumed she was Daisy Peach and she was the princess. But all that's kind of stuff like Mario is not, Lord of the Rings. I think you can pick it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's funny because it's not super complicated, but then it became super complicated. It's just like, they added more and more on. I mean, the first one is just there's just a plumber. He breaks up when things.
What's interesting about Mario, and maybe the sequel, is that they have this lore and this mythology of this world with mushrooms and turtle shells and all these things. But then also, he's a doctor. And he plays tennis. Like there's like all these really weird Barbie left turns that he does that it's just like that could be fun in a sequel, but when you're just trying to set the table, it didn't work. But that stuff always makes me laugh.
And I can't wait to make the Dr. Mario movie.
Well, no,
him giving pills to people and solving puzzles.
Absolutely.
Mario Kevorkian. Just take this one. I think this matches.
Dude, and that's where the Pac-Man ghosts come from.
People Dr. Mario killed.
That's murdered.
I think all those Goomba mushrooms aren't really bad guys. They're just coming to him to perform a service, and he releases them from their corporal prisons,
Yeah.
Propofol, come back in a month.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get to the pitch. What do you say? By the way, this pitch is bananas. All right, bananas. It's great though. So the pitch: Dr. Robotnik has been looking for magic in his castle. He has a pet monkey, and the monkey finds a piece of magic mushroom in one of the pipes. He eats it and grows gigantic into Donkey Kong, just as Princess Peach comes through a portal in the same pipe. She's looking for help because all the leaders in her kingdom have been turned into animals. We see Mario and Luigi in a small argument with their dad. Their dad doesn't respect either of them, but for different reasons. They get called to do a plumbing job and show up at a castle to do the work. From their interactions, we see that Mario is a working class guy who is content to do his job and do it well, whereas Luigi wants more than just that life, and him and his brother are a bit at odds with each other, but they work together nonetheless. When they get in the castle to do work, they hear a commotion and run to see what's happening. They see Donkey Kong with Princess Peach in one hand and throwing a bunch of barrels and decorations all over the place in the other hand. Mario springs into action and, dodging barrels, goes and tries to wrestle Peach out of the monkey's hands, but just as he gets there, the monkey shrinks down, coming off of the mushrooms. Peach decides that Mario might be able to help and grabs both the monkey and him, pulling him through the portal to leave Luigi going, "What is happening?" But he decides to chase after his brother and goes into the pipe too. Alas, they are separated. The brothers are now on separate paths. Mario, being led by the very capable Princess Peach, is learning the peculiarities of this new universe while searching for his brother and trying to help Peach too. Luigi is on a separate adventure to find himself first and then find his brother. I had to do that in a specific voice. I think you know why. They both do a bunch of fun things from the video game Luigi. Luigi rides Yoshi. Mario eats a mushroom and gets big. He eats a flower and spits fire. We see the raccoon suit and other various fun things from the video game. Plus, Toad is there for the ride as well. We find out that Bowser is trying to conquer all the kingdoms through the various portals, and through his mechanizations, he threatens our universe as well. Bowser tries to get our local portal to take it over and get access to all the dimensional portals, and our heroes chase him. They try to get into cars to do it, and they become Mario Karts. In fact, the whole world has become an amalgamation of video games and the regular world. There's a big scene where they chase him down as a team, and they all defeat him, eventually returning both their worlds back to the way they were. The cast is Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Mario, Pete Davidson as Luigi,
Perfect.
Al Pacino as Bowser, Vin Diesel as King Kong.
Donkey Kong, you mean?
Yeah,
Donkey Kong
Kong.
King.
Not King Kong, Donkey Kong. John Mulaney as Toad, Seth Rogen as Yoshi, and Scarlett Johansson as Princess Peach and an actual Peach. Also, the most important thing is Al Pacino as Mario and Luigi's dad and Bowser.
Yeah. Peter Pan.
So after hearing that, and possibly rewatching it if you did, what do you think? Still as good and fun as you remember?
Dude, this thing's a Chipotle burrito. We stuffed the hell out of this thing. I as you were saying, I was like, man, why we could have done 5 movies out of this one movie. There's a lot in it.
To be fair, that whole first paragraph about Donkey Kong like growing big is all backstory. Like we don't necessarily see that happen in the movie.
Sure. Look, I think it's all fun. All this stuff is, oh god, here it comes. It's all dumb and silly. So I think why not make it all silly and fun? That's what the pitch sounds like.
I just remember when we came up with the idea of the video game world is merging with our world, and there's a chase through New York for the star portal, whatever. And all the regular cars start turning into Mario Kart cars. That's where this pitch just sang for me. I was like, holy that is just a good old-fashioned blockbuster set piece that would be amazing to watch.
I wonder if you try to get to it faster now. Like if you were to redo this, if you just try to get to that part of the story quicker. Because I agree. That's really cool.
I mean, I put in those things from the beginning because they were part of what we were like kind of setting up so that people, like Donkey Kong, more than likely we see one scene with Al Pacino being a jerk to his kids, and you're like, oh, these two kids have to just deal. They're adults too, but they're kids to it, and they have to deal with that. They show up. There's a crazy monkey, and then they get pulled into a portal. Now the adventure begins.
Totally.
And we get to the third act where Bowser is now moving to take over all the dimensions. There's the big chase, and boom, it's done. Like it's really more simple than it came across as sounding, but the rest of it was so entertaining. I had to put it in for the. Go ahead.
No. I mean, you're right. I just think it shows us the difference between like our performance of it and actual summation. We could summarize it better or worse or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But when you watch the episode, there is this crackling energy. Not only are we trying to ride the shockwave of the tremendous bomb that the Matrix episode was, we're just trying to. We got 100% shield strength. And we're just trying to rock it along, trying to get away from that horrible bomb. And there's a palpable energy to all of us in that episode that was just really remarkable. And I really like the fact that we took this seriously. That might be a drinking game with me. Like, take this stupid crap seriously. I say it all the time. But like, just the tiniest bit of investment. Like Bill said, tiniest bit of investment in, okay, why does he got so many costumes? Well, there's so many worlds. Why are there so many worlds? Well, the dude's got the wands and the blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? The different kings of each kingdom, of each castle, rather, holding their domain, each castle having one of the star things in it, and that being sort of a war that Bowser was trying to win. It kind of, to me, focused it. And like, if we're following Mario through the forest with Peach, we know in the end, we have to stop this ticking time bomb. Even this silly movie has a nice ticking time bomb to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the lesson to learn from this one is that we started with very clean and simple emotional stakes and sort of call it setup for the business, right? Setup for it's like the plot setup and the thematic setup were just on the nose. Like Mario and Luigi having conflict with each other and conflict with their dad and sort of that triangle. Very clean, very classic. You ride that through the rest of the movie. And then the very clean plot setup of like, there's dimensional portals and Bowser is trying to conquer every kingdom every castle in these various dimensions has one of the portals, and so he has to go into the castle and take control of the portal. Again, it's just both of those things are just excuses to do all the crazy stuff. But when you have that really good, solid foundation, you can just start piling stuff on top of it because you don't lose the thread.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was, and we talked about this, and it'll be mentioned a little bit, but like this was a nice palate cleanser from our Matrix episode where we all wanted to murder each other by the end of it, and on this one, I felt like it's like the band got back. It's like Kiss got together and we're like, you know what? We're gonna do the makeup one more time, but we're gonna make it cool, and we're gonna make people feel good about it, like they used to feel good about it, and then everybody really did feel good about it, and everyone was happy, and it was a good time. So
yeah, this was one where the pitch, I feel like it's almost like we didn't want to stop kind of adding and kind of spitballing because we finally felt like we were playing in the same sandbox again, whereas the last episode we weren't. But it also, I think we like Mario is something that it's one of those like really weird, it doesn't happen a lot where there is so much lore, but I'd say like most casual people like myself, like I've played now a lot of Mario games, but like I don't know all the lore. Like there just felt like there was more room to play with as opposed to like Star Wars, where it was like we really had to be conscious of not going on this lane and not repeating this, whereas Mario, just felt a little bit more free. The stakes oddly felt a little lower for us internally, not the stakes of the actual plot itself.
But can I jump on that, because there are coming up, I'm sorry, I'm in the future, but there are some comments coming up about people really taking this lore seriously, kind of to Bill's point earlier. But the thing is, video games are so immersive that the lore can be trash and you still buy it so much. These people buy it so much. It's like, you weren't there at checkpoint 17 when I kept getting killed by those spikes. The turtles had spikes on their backs. They were bouncing all around. I held my buddy's guts in my hands. That's how these people tell their stupid video game stories. So they get so into it that I kind of understand that they come, being all psychotic with us for not like treating this like the ancient tales of Samaria or whatever. You know what I mean? I kind of get that.
Let me just say, like, the vociferousness of the Sonic fandom, and I get it. I get it about the design. Like, that original design was trash, but the level of personal insult that people took, like the level of just aggrievement that came over that design was bonkers to me.
Hey, but you know what? That was their
just like,
Knight Rider.
wow, look at these out of touch Hollywood assholes and their stupid design. It was, how dare you leave Sonic alone? Like, I don't get it. I don't get where that comes from.
Well, Bill, it's because you have a personality that is formed beyond the things that you love. I mean, seriously. And like, look, I've been that guy. I remember, like, look, and I still
Twilight?
don't think. Yeah, Twilight. Yeah, we're going to get to that. But it's not just that. It's like the first Spider-Man. I have jokes about it, and they're good jokes. I like the jokes. I do them, at comic book conventions. But watching the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, I was furious when I walked out of that. And the big change that they did was two big changes: a costume change, and I didn't like that they had the webbing come out of his wrist instead of the cartridge. And
wait, what about the costume did you not like? The fact that they raised the webbing?
No. I like Spider-Man's costume fine. I'm talking about the Green Goblin in the Power Ranger bad guy outfit.
Got it.
Like and I have, I got my jokes about it. It's great. But like, I was very upset about webbing.
We're talking about
what I mean?
webbing.
Yeah. And it's like, I can be passionate about those things, but also not be so passionate that it ruins my day.
The only difference I'll say, like, I would almost give a pass to 2002 Ron Swallow, because at that point, you've waited your whole life for a Spider-Man movie. You finally get one. You didn't know if it was going to happen, and it lets you down. if
Yeah.
you're that upset today at like Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm going to tell you to go F yourself, because there's been like 17 different Spider-Man movies by this point. So look, if you're that upset about Mario or our pitch, first of all, this isn't even a real movie. So like, I would at least save your vitriol for when a real one comes out. But if you were that upset, like you know, I get it. There's not a ton of Mario like media, especially live action. So I could get people being more upset, I guess, about this than, you know, what we did to Star Wars or a Marvel character, where it's like, just, you know, it's like the Olympics. Every 4 years you're gonna get a new version anyway. So like, calm your tits.
Yeah, and it's also about like, okay, so like for instance, Bill and Ed are both agreed that they don't really like magic and things. I enjoy magic and things because I just like the fantasy of it. And there could be an argument about storytelling, et cetera, but like them not liking magic and things doesn't mean they don't like me. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's what people think sometimes when they attach to something. It's like, if you mess up Mario, that means you don't like them as a person because they like Mario the specific way. And that part's not healthy. The part that's healthy is having fun with a thing, and you know, of course, and loving a thing and being disappointed. There's nothing wrong with being disappointed. You can dislike our idea or whatever, and that's not a problem. But it shouldn't be a personal affront to your life, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that's where I'm going, what I'm talking about with it.
Ron dropping wisdom right there, I would say.
Yeah. Every once in a while.
Can I just bring up real quick, before we get into comments, I almost want to read a comment that I left on this episode, because I feel like our conversation in the episode gave it short shrift, but it is a really interesting question, and that's about our casting. And we had trouble casting Mario, and we came up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is, I think, a serviceable pick. But let me just read. I wrote, you need a leading man type who can play blue collar without coming across too gruff or too dumb, who can rock a mustache, ideally has a stocky build, isn't too old, has the believable physicality to jump and throw fireballs, can carry a romantic subplot, and can play the straight man to a fantastical world without coming across as cynical or smirking or knowing. And I feel like that is a really difficult casting brief. And I don't know who that is. And like, I was hoping we'd get more comments. The one that I came up with after the fact was Ben Platt, who's a Broadway guy, who kind of plays the schlubby everyman in Broadway productions. He's blonde, so you'd have to give him a dye job. But I feel like you almost have to go that route. Is you almost need like theater kids or people who can commit to like big, broad performances and bring a certain physicality to it. But it's a weird ask for a casting for a casting director.
You're almost backed into a corner of character actors. So it's like you almost have to not bank on Mario being a star if that's the point, because we've gotten to a point where like if your body is not Chris Evans or Jabba the Hutt, there's almost no room for. There's like that 30 Rock joke where he's like, she either loses all the weight or gains 100 pounds more. There's no room for in between. Like, that's kind of where we are. Because I was trying to think, I was like, the only name that I could even like remotely think of, and you'd almost have to rewind time like 15 years, is like Jack Black. You know, like, and even Jack Black comes with the baggage of like Jim Carrey-esque like over the topness, which I think he can be more subtle, but unfortunately like he's always just going to get slapped with that. But I mean, as much as I respect him, and he was in a lot of big movies, like Bob Hoskins is not necessarily up there with the upper A-list echelon of that time. Like, that must have been a hard casting choice even back then.
Yeah, and Bob Hoskins comes from that Gene Hackman school of like, I'm kind of a leading man, I'm kind of a character actor, I'm not necessarily attractive, but I just have this weird, intense charisma. And Hollywood just does not embrace that anymore. Like, I don't know who those guys are nowadays.
Look, it's obviously Jason Statham.
Oh, it's definitely not. Well, he could jump, but dude, I you know what? Freaking right around the time that he got Sopranos, James Gandolfini I would love for that to be
Dude,
Mario.
here's what I came up with. If this was like 2005, 2006, Mario, Steve Carell, Luigi, Stephen Colbert. Like they already work together. They could Steve Carell is Italian, which I love. And like that would be an amazing movie in 2006. But you know, I don't know who that would be nowadays.
I mean, the only other one I could think of, and it's like clearly not Italian, but like I think at least fits every other thing, would be someone like Anthony Anderson. He's like a bigger guy, great actor, also really funny. Probably doesn't scream Italian. But again, it's just like that goes to show you how hard, like when they eventually do make another Mario, there's like 5 check boxes and you're going to find a lot of guys that get 3 or 4 of them. And it's going to be really hard to find someone to get that 5th box.
Dude, it's gonna end up being James Corden trying to do an Italian accent.
Listen, I love Anthony Anderson as Mario Van Mario. I love it.
You know what? I feel like we missed an opportunity to cast Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles together as brothers again. I think that's
Don't bring that into the rewinds, Ron. Leave that in the proper episodes where it belongs.
Too busy being Walker Texas Ranger. I saw the other day, and
Did you watch it?
No. Let me rephrase. I saw a billboard while driving home from the doctor's office of that the other day, and I couldn't believe that how far we've fallen from Chuck Norris all the way down to Jared Padalecki. Oh my God. What a bait and switch.
They couldn't make the preview good of that. The preview was bad in that. So I can't imagine if you can't even get 3 minutes of cool stuff from however many episodes you have filmed, there is a problem.
It's like if you were to reboot Rambo and it was Steve-O, you'd be like, really? That's what we're doing now? Okay.
I mean, honestly, in that show, Jensen Ackles is the one who looks like he fights the best anyway. So if nothing else, it would have been him. But he probably would have been like, no, I'm not going to do that.
The only question I have is, how do you do Walker Texas Ranger without roundhouse kicks? Like Jared Padalecki is not a martial artist.
No, he's not. I don't know. It's going to be, I'm going to watch an episode or two just to like have it under my belt. Maybe I'll do something on my YouTube channel and talk about how bad it is.
That would be the moodiest Super Mario Brothers to have those two. Be like,
posing.
We ran out of fireballs. Dean, we need more fireballs.
Where do we get these fireballs? I just don't know.
Dean, I need the raccoon gear.
I don't trust you to do your job. I'll tell you that much.
And scene.
This sounds
an Impala.
Sounds absolutely terrible.
All right. Well, it seems like this is a good moment to get to our comments. The first one we got is from The Joker Wild. I love people's YouTube names. He says, you guys really missed the idea of setting up a Smash Brothers universe. After this, Kong gets his own movie, introduce Kirby or Link, then Smash Brothers being their Battle World Avengers crossover.
I really hate, I'm sorry, I don't mean to like immediately crap on this guy, but I hate when people say, you missed the opportunity or you guys forgot to do this. Like, no, we didn't. Not everything has to be the Avengers. We made the movie we wanted to make. I think that Zelda, The Legend of Zelda and Link is really cool. And I think it shouldn't touch anything that we're doing in this movie. I don't want a Super Smash Brothers movie. Not right now. Let's get Super Mario Brothers right. So it's not a missed opportunity. You just have a different idea than us. So stop. Just stop.
I would also say that there's a little bit of Zack Snyder in that comment where it's like, bro, this movie already has like dimension hopping and a whole mechanism for how you can go to even more dimensions. So there's no reason why you have to give us, convenient email files of all these other franchises in the first movie. Like, take that conceit and run with it if you want to in subsequent films. But like, why do we have to be setting it up right now?
But
Yeah, absolutely.
but hold on. I don't want to be a sociology professor, but I think it is this weird acceleration of life. Give me my whole show now. Give me 57 episodes right now. Dump it in my eyeballs. Everybody is like that all the time now, and they think that everything could be a franchise just because Marvel took 60 years of stuff and did it with that. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird micro. Back in the days, like Marshall McLuhan and them used to call it the microwave society or whatever, you know, and we have literally super become that, and it's wiggity whack because like I've said it on another episode. I've talked to people who think that Batman Begins is so inferior to The Dark Knight that they should have just skipped that movie altogether and just started with the Joker. And I'm like, do you not understand how much track was laid in Batman Begins? You know what I'm saying? That ain't even my favorite thing in the world, but like that's a great movie for laying some track to get you to your stupid Joker movie.
It also shows that they completely missed the point of Dark Knight because it's about escalation. And it's like, you can't start at 2. You have to start at 1 to get to 2. I hate people.
Let me just say, though, the structure of WandaVision has been trash, and there's no need for all those first 4 episodes. So just to counterpoint everything you're saying.
I'm not ready to have that conversation. Let's move forward.
No,
Next comment.
Bill is an engagement machine.
Let me say this about the Joker Wild's comment here, though. I do think those would be fun extra movies, and I do think it would be fun to do some, like Bill suggested, some strange dimension hopping movies that we could do, but I don't think we needed to set it up in this movie. I think that we had this movie, and just this movie being what it is already set up the possibilities of having sequels like that and having a video game franchise that like hopped worlds, because we already had inside of that thing where we said, oh yeah, you're literally seeing other video games happen through these dimensional portals. That's one of the things we mentioned in the thing. So it literally was set up, and it is a good idea to set up something fun like that. So
Dr. Robotnik is low-key in this movie. So your setup is there. We literally laid the pipe that would lead to other franchises.
Well, you know how we love to lay pipe, and
I saw it coming. I tried to duck, but I saw it coming.
Did you, Billy? You did see it.
Rewind the tape and look at my face. You know I know it's coming.
You know what? You don't hand me jokes like that and expect me to not say them. All right, let's do this next comment from Jolene Jolly. She said, the moment you guys asked if Yoshi talks and you can make him talk, I froze. Last time that was done, a whole theater was shook and some guy screamed, no! But great episode, guys.
I think she's referring to the Pikachu, the clip that went viral of Pikachu speaking in one of the spin-off Pokemon animated movies that I didn't see it, but I saw that clip because people were so upset that Pikachu said a word. I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say Yoshi is maybe not as protected and beloved as Pikachu. So I'm totally fine with Yoshi talking. Was that in our pitch? Does Seth Rogen actually speak?
We
for
had
him?
a sentence in it. Yeah.
I'm actually fine having him go full Seth Rogen in it. Fine with me.
I thought Jolene
100%.
Jolly's comment was referring to the Jurassic World sequel where the raptor spoke in the dream.
I mean, it happened. Sadly, there's probably a handful of things. If she's a normal commenter and watcher, so maybe she can clarify. But either way, I think in Jurassic Park 3, it's very weird and doesn't fit. Obviously, I think it's something like Super Mario Brothers. We've already gotten to Crazy Town in the first 2 minutes, so fine with me.
Fair.
So this next comment I want to preface with, there was already a back and forth on this one. Everything got settled, but we did mention that in that back and forth that we should talk about it on the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. So we got Chai Hodgson. He said, this was an interesting watch, especially in contrast with last week's episode. Last week, all of you were getting in each other's way because you all cared about the IP so much. This week was just smooth consensus because, well, none of you care about this IP. As someone who does care about the IP, it was really frustrating to watch. It kind of just feels like you made a family movie and spewed Mario iconography at it. A humble suggestion: if none of you are deep into a franchise you are rebooting, consider bringing in a guest star who is.
I feel like I've already spoken on this issue too many times, so I'm bowing out of this conversation.
I'll just jump in to say that, like, I actually do have some love for the Mario franchise, and I thought I expressed that in the original episode. And I know I don't remember if I was involved in that back and forth in the comments, but like,
Yeah, you were.
Part of the fun of this, I think, is us trying to nail something that, again, we aren't experts on. And so, like I said at the beginning of this, I tried to do the requisite amount of research to see like what are sort of the big overriding elements and themes that seem to carry this franchise. And I really feel like those were worked into the pitch. So I would just be curious for specifics on like, what are we getting wrong here other than just having crazy bonkers fun with it?
Yeah, but again, it's also a lot of people have their own Knight Riders, and it just is what it is, and that's the beauty of like all this opinion and all this jazz. But I do agree with Ron earlier. I'm not going to reiterate what he said beautifully. Tying your identity up and all this kind of stuff is weird, and we gotta stop.
And in defense of Chai, he mentioned this in the comments. He also was like, a little tense from pandemic, because this was like, I think this was a couple months into the pandemic when we recorded this. So people were getting pretty tense because even though now it's been a year that we've been stuck inside, at that time, it only been 2 months, and we all thought it was only going to be 2 months. And at that 2 months, we all realized that this was going to take a lot longer than we thought it was. And so like part of his comment came from that. And then part of it came from, he thought that we didn't get, Mario right. But I'd argue that I think we kind of did, because the story is literally Mario trying to stop Bowser from taking over all these castles that then takes over all the universes. Like, I think that's pretty much what Mario is. But at the same time, I kind of felt like you got to walk a line of being respectful to something, but also stepping back and being able to make a fun and insightful movie. And I kind of felt like we did that.
Am I misremembering? Is Chai actually the woman who's pregnant that fell asleep in one of our ones and woke up?
Oh, yes.
Chai is a woman, yes.
Yeah.
It's Chai, and it's a woman. I apologize, Chai.
Chai, I hope you and the baby are doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's one of the nice things. That's one of the things I want to talk about in the comments. And part of the reason I put Shai's on there is that we can all talk about this stuff, because you guys had a nice back and forth. And at the end of it, everybody was kind of like, no need to apologize. You're just saying how you felt about a thing, and we're talking back and forth about it. And that's where we should be. In this type of thing, we should be able to have a good time, respect each other's opinions, and have a dialogue about it. I guess that's
it's also this thing about everybody has hills, and that's the thing. I don't want us to try to come off like we don't have hills. We've run into our hills on these episodes. Some of the things we're too close to, all this jazz. So I mean, it happens to everybody. But the bottom line is, how many episodes have we done, and how many times has that happened? We really try to attack these things with a certain veracity, that comes from a certain level of care. Even the He-Man one had a bunch of care. We made sure to touch upon every single aspect of that universe, from how the bad guys are created, to how the magic works, to the interdimensional portals, to that we brought Hordak and She-Ra into it. Fakers in that thing. We come through with the love. We got the raccoon suit, the fire draws, the damn overalls. We got all the stuff in this. Come on, man. So I don't know what people want, dude. I really don't. And the thing is, we don't need guest stars. We have talked about this, but I think it's good to cyclically talk about it again. It is about what these for. This assimilated black militant, this super cynic, this teddy bear who hates everything, and then Ron's vitriolic ball of enthusiasm.
I'm the super cynic?
Yes.
I'm super cynic? Wow.
With an ass on your chest.
Wait, which one am I again?
Oh, you're a teddy bear who hates everything. But I just really feel like overall this mix of personalities is what you come for. And I know that even when we disappoint people, it's entertaining a lot of the times. So that's kind of how I take it, you know.
Yeah, and also, look, 4 is already tough to circumnavigate when putting together a story online through the internet and recording. 5 would make it even crazier. We may at some point do something with the Reboot Rewinds when one of us can't be there, where we have a guest on to talk about it, have them watch it, and then they tell their opinion, and we, have them read some comments and all that stuff. But for the most part, this is the 4 of us. We formed this together as friends who wanted to combine each other's fan bases and also have a great time coming up with cool creative stuff. And that's kind of how we want to keep it. I would
just wait for the reboot the next generation. It'll be
Yeah.
Ron and 3 people.
I was
different
going
people.
to say the kayfabe of this is that essentially you're hiring us to do this job, and there's no way in hell we're splitting that money with a 5th person. So if you hire us to do the job, we're doing the job. No subcontractors.
Absolutely. I love it.
We're the only plumbers on this job.
That's right. We can't have a bunch of plungers in one toilet, you guys. It doesn't work. Okay, so now I wanted to, you know what? One of the things about doing these reboot rewinds is we have. I don't want to like repeat a lot of the same comments and same things, but sometimes you gotta just have some nice comments in there where someone's saying nice stuff about us. So I put 2 of those in there, and it's these 2. We had Charles Clark. Sorry, hold on one second. We have Charles Clark saying, how do y'all keep putting out these great videos? It's obviously not easy. See the Matrix episode, but you make it seem so and funny as hell to boot. Can't wait for the next week's episode. And then Asher Brody said, great episode, guys. Really inspired casting and directing choices. Make Diesel my Donkey Kong, spin off a la Hobbs and Shaw, and cast The Rock as King K. Rool.
That's a bridge
fun.
too far.
I don't know. That sounds like Vin Diesel and The Rock again. They can't be in the same room. They've got to film separately on green screens. It's going to be hilarious.
By the way, that's what The Rock does on every movie. Here's a little interesting insight for you guys. The Rock, in his contract, will not be on set for like more than 5 hours a day. Like when The Rock is in a movie, the entire production essentially has to figure out how to shoot the movie without The Rock, because he just has the asking power to do that. And he's got his other business ventures, and he's got to work out for God knows how many hours a day. So he straight up contractually is obligated to work like 5 hours a day on a movie. So all these movies are piecemealed together with like body doubles and green screen and all this other nonsense.
Is that why most of them just aren't very good?
Yes. This is not, by the way, that is 100% true and not an exaggeration. So
I mean, the Die Hard Tower Fire thing was one of the worst movies I've seen in the last 5 years. It was like unwatchable.
Yeah. And he knows that doesn't matter. He makes his money anyway.
Sure, why not?
I'm growing a resentment against The Rock because this guy, I don't know, he puts out this brand of great success. And look, it's well earned. Like, he has great success, but there's some behind the scenes shit that goes on with that guy that is like, he does really not care about the quality of the product.
Oh, that's interesting. And that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
It's not a shocker when you watch some of the stuff.
No, it shouldn't be surprising if you're paying attention, but
I just think it's really sad that you don't smell what he's cooking.
I think Bill needs to know his role and shut his mouth. Personally,
I think a lot of commenters would agree with you, so you're not off base.
Sounded like a real candy.
Look, you guys, I think there's 3 of us here who need to stop snapping into Slim Jims as much. So
I stand slender, James. I don't know what you're talking about.
So
slender James.
But obviously, you can see your answer in this, Charles. How we keep putting out great videos is we're friends who can be funny with each other, and I think that's a big deal. Like look, not everybody can get together and have a good time. Like 97% of the time, we get to do that.
But that 3%. Good Lord.
It's pretty rough.
It's enough to make you want to walk away forever. Just put your hat in the ring and walk out. But
yeah. It's a bummer when 3% of it is literally, pooping into a hat that explodes immediately afterwards. Like that 3% is not fun.
While people watch. It's not even a private meltdown.
Dude, totally. That's the thing. It's like, look, it's one thing when you make a comment and it's a huge pitch and maybe we're not as kind as maybe we could be on these rewinds, but it's like you get to watch us try to figure it out in real time and get angry with each other while there's a live chat on some of the episodes of you just being like, well, that's dumb. I'm just looking off to the right on some of those live episodes, like watching you tell me I suck in real time. Like, yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely. So I want to end with what I think is probably the most important comment that we could ever have. And that's Moramoth Hans. I'm rewatching this episode because Billy reminded me of it. And I'm leaving this comment to help with the algorithm.
Yes.
I'd be fine if people just were like leaving this to help the algorithm. Like, I don't even care if you contribute or not at that point. Like, because you are contributing. So
yes, 100%.
I appreciate you actually listening to my reminder and helping the algorithm. That seriously, I laugh, but that does help.
Hashtag algo hack. Get on that.
Algo hack. I like that. That's good. We should make a movie out of that.
Oh God.
The algorithm of the night. I'm in for it.
All right. Well, so that was our Reboot Rewind, you guys. We wanted to say thank you for leaving these great comments. And like Moramoth said, please leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm. It helps with the Magamoogles. Okay,
Ron,
guys?
you were so articulate today up to that point. Like, you were
so
killing
frustrating.
it. You were killing it.
I nailed everything the whole episode, and then I had to say algorithm. So you guys, it does help with the algorithm for you to like, subscribe, push that bell, say you like us, and for Billy Business.
It only works if you say you like us. So if you crap on us, it doesn't
say
work.
it.
No, you gotta say it 3 times into a mirror and your YouTube will pop up.
Like us. Please like us. And thank
Give
you for
us
listening.
validation, please. We weren't hugged enough as kids.
DJ Qualls? Bye, guys.